Hello, everybody. Hi, and welcome to another episode of the Sports Podcast. I need a name. Come up with a name for me, because I'm lazy. But welcome to the sports side. Um, Today and for the next few weeks, I'm going to go over each division and basically predict a winner of each division, but more importantly, predict the records of each team. And basically I'm going to do is I'm going to split it into, basically it's going to be five videos, two teams or two divisions per video. So then by the fifth video, I'm basically predicting the playoffs, and that should hopefully be right on time for when the regular season starts. I can just say, like, if I somehow miraculously get it 100% right, you guys can look back and be like, wow, he was 100% right. I know it's not going to happen, but there's technically a chance. There's always a chance. So today, the first two divisions that we're going to go over, we're just going to hop right into it because there's a lot to cover. So the first two divisions are that we're going to go over are the AFC and the NFC North. We're doing the Norths because the Vikings are in the North, so I just want to get the Vikings basically out of the way first because I'm a homeboy. So this is hard, and I think both North divisions are going to be a lot closer than people realize. I think that there's a lot of uncertainty in the whole, as a whole, with the divisions, and in general, divisions just generally always play harder. Even if like a team sucks in that division, they'll always play their rivals harder because that's just what it is. We saw that with Detroit last year when they had nothing to play for, and Green Bay had everything to play for, and Detroit's sole purpose in that game was to kick Green Bay out, and they did it, and that's what they did. That was all they wanted to do. There was even an interview with Dan Campbell during the game when the reporter asked, "You have nothing to play for, so what is motivating you guys?" And he literally was like, "We're stopping those guys from getting in the playoffs. That's our motivation." And that's just what rivalries do, which is why they're important for sports. And we'll cover that in a different video. But the key thing is that these divisions, especially the North of both sides, are going to play a lot closer than people realize. So we'll start with the NFC North, obviously, because I'm from Minnesota, and that's where the Minnesota Vikings are. We're going to go from last from bottom to top. Bottom, we have Green Bay, and this is not because of any like hatred or anything. I honestly have them going 8-9, and for the amount of uncertainty that they have, I think 8-9 is very respectable. They have a lot of unknown, which can play into their benefit because no one knows what to expect, especially early on. And then but I could also see the inverse where it's going to take them some time to get into it, and then maybe they'll figure out by before when it's a little too late, but they'll get some wins together and at least finish out the season strong. I basically have them splitting with the Bears and the Lions. And I think, again, not just because I'm a homer, but I think they're going to lose twice to the Vikings. They're also going to I have them losing to the Giants, Chiefs, Chargers, Pittsburgh, and Denver. I have them losing to Denver. But I could also see them going 9-8 and not losing that game in Mile High. My thing is that they're going to Denver, which is always a hard place to play. And honestly, I have Denver beating quite a few teams. I think Sean Payton's going to help out that team immensely. And they're going to be a lot better than obviously what they were last year, especially playing at home. So I think Green Bay goes 8-9, and I think that's very respectable with how much they have unknown. They have a lot of unknown at tight end. I mean, they have Watson, the receiver, but they're still really young. There's going to be a lot of growing pains. Obviously, they don't know anything about Love. No one knows anything about what Jordan Love is going to be able to do. The only like solid thing about that offense is Aaron Jones and Dylan, but other than that, there's so much uncertainty in that offense. Then you go to the defensive side, it's going to be a little bit more stable, but that defense was also pretty inconsistent last year. We saw like towards the end of the season that they were able to kind of figure it out, and if they can figure it out some more, that defense should be pretty good. It's not going to be like top 10 or anything, but it should be. It should help them at least get help sort of get the offense their footing a little bit, especially later in the season. I think I think 8 and 9 is very respectable. I could see them going. They get a few more bounces. I could see them creeping up into like maybe the 9-win, 10-win territory, but that's if they get a few bounces. I could also see them going a little lower, like 7-10, and 6-11. But I think 8 and 9 is a good place to be. And for as much as you don't know, I think like if I was in the same shoes with the Vikings, I would take an 8-9 season. Next, I'd have the Lions at 9-8, and they're gonna just split. I think they're gonna split the division clean in half. I think they're gonna fight everyone well. I think their losses are gonna come from Seattle, Kansas, Baltimore, Dallas, and the Chargers to round up the remaining 8 losses. Again, this is a team that I could see having a few either a few more wins or a few more losses. I could see them maybe not losing to Baltimore, or I could see them picking up a loss at just like a random even like a Carolina, and same with Green Bay. I didn't have them losing to Carolina, but I could see them losing to Carolina if that team is can turn around, maybe because there's a lot of hope in the rookie quarterback. But we'll see. We'll just see. Jared Goff is really good. Coach Campbell is he's got that team rallied around, and they will run through brick walls for him. So he can coach them to 9 wins just himself. I could see them going, like I said, that's a team where I could also see them going as high as 11-6, and maybe even win the division. So I mean, the division is a lot more wide open than people give credit for. I also have the Bears going 9-8, and again, it's not because I'm just trying to make the Vikings win the division. I think the Vikings are the better team, genuinely. If you just look at the talent offensively that this team has is superior to all the other three. The Bears have have a solid offense. They've gave Justin Fields a lot of pieces, and if he can be as good as he was last year and throw the ball a little bit more with his new weapons, and hopefully that offensive line protects him a little bit, they could easily win quite a bit of games. And I know I've been seeing a lot through Vikings Twitter that a lot of them are annoyed with the Bears fans, and I do think that the Bears fans and their Bears media is counting, they're kind of acting like they've already won even though they haven't done anything, and they're acting like they haven't, just came off a really bad season. But also at the same time, the Bears had a really good offseason, a really good draft. They stockpiled a lot of stuff. I wouldn't be surprised if that team actually goes from worst to first. And honestly, in all honesty, I could see it happening. So I think the Bears deserve the hype that they're getting, but also I think it's a little bit overhyped, and I could see them also falling a little flat of expectation. But I think anything for them that would be really good, and as long as they show signs of improvement, honestly, for them, I would even take a 7-10 season, or just an improvement on the wins, because you just want to show that you're getting better, and you want Justin Fields to keep progressing, which he has, and I think he's going to be a really good quarterback, and I really like Justin Fields as a person, so I think I think 9-8. They could probably get to 10-7. Honestly, I could see them getting to 10-7 too. But 9-8's a good spot. And then obviously that leaves the Vikings at 10-7. We're definitely going to probably lose to Kansas City, San Fran. We're gonna probably split the series with the Bears and the Lions, just because we always tend to split the division. I could even see us losing in Green Bay, honestly, if you know, just full stop. We're gonna lose to Cincy, like I said, Philly, and then Denver. So I mean, I could, because we again the Vikings have to go to Denver, and we're pretty historically bad at, well, at least recently have been pretty bad at Mile High. But I think 10-7. I think the Vikings do end up winning this division. Just from what I'm hearing about from training camp, it seems like Brian Flores has turned that defense around, and just with the players that we have, and he's made it a lot better. Just by being there. And granted, again, I said this in the last video, that bar isn't that high to climb from how bad our defense was last year, and he has already turned it around. And we just need a top 20 defense. That's all we need. We don't need a top 5 unit. That's not what this offense needs. Because from what I've been seeing from Addison, I've been seeing a lot of videos, and KJ's probably going to be number 2. And there's been a lot of talks about even like some of our even younger guys like Naylor. We signed N'Keal Harry. We signed him to a cheap deal, and he's been apparently doing really well in camp. So honestly, like with Naylor, we have a lot of depth at receiver, like a lot of depth at receiver, and then there's the Alexander Madison, and Ty Chandler has been doing really well at camp, and Kenny Nwangwu is a very good like kick returner, and he's also has a lot of speed, and if he can pass catch, we're going to use him. I think this is going to be a very versatile and very potent offense. Obviously, we have TJ Hawkinson as well. So there's a lot of pass catchers, and there's a lot of people saying that there's probably going to be a lot of 3 deep with those receivers. With JJ, KJ, and Jordan Addison, they're just going to go deep. Kirk's not going to miss. He's very accurate with those deep throws. I think the offense is going to be very potent. Our question marks are going to be defense. And if we can get like a top 15 defense, it's going to be substantial. That's going to be substantial. A lot of those one possession games that we've won are not going to be one possession games. I do have us losing more games than last year, but that doesn't mean that this team is worse than last year. Like, this is fully acknowledging that we got lucky a lot. And honestly, if we do get the defense significantly better, and this offense is as full to the floor as it can go, I could also see us winning like 12 or 13 games. Maybe we don't split the series with Green Bay and the Bears. Maybe we don't lose to like Denver. Maybe we pick up a surprise, but we would have to get pretty perfect. But honestly, if the O-line can hold up and give Kirk Cousins time, I don't see how the Vikings can really lose this division. I think it's going to come down between the Bears, Lions, and Vikings. This is going to be a very close division. I think it's just going to be a game or two that separates them. But again, this is not even just being a homer. I just think the Vikings are way too talented on offense to lose this division, just purely on offense alone. Now we're going to go to the AFC North, and we're going to start at the bottom. It's going to be the Browns. They're going to go 7-10. They have a lot of offensive talent, and if Deshaun Watson, as much as I don't like it and don't like him as a person, he is a talented quarterback, and if he can get some time, he does have like Amari Cooper. He does have some fairly decent receivers. He has Elijah Moore. Obviously Nick Chubb He's always going to be really good. He has Donovan Peoples-Jones, who's been solid. And David Njoku. So I mean, the offense has talent. But I could just see them falling a little flat. I mean, their defense is pretty good. I mean, it has a lot of good pieces. So that defense, I think, is going to do a lot of the heavy lifting. I mean, 7-10 losses. They're going to get swept by the Bengals. They can easily split the series with Baltimore and Pittsburgh just because that's how that division is. It doesn't matter how good or bad you are in contention to win all of those like rivalry games. And I mean, like even the year when they went 0-16 in the last game to maybe not go 0-16, they put up a hell of a fight against Pittsburgh. Like it was close, and it wasn't even really supposed to be. So like that division always plays close, like closer than any other division. It's a very rough division. So I see 7-10. They're gonna lose to the Niners, Seattle, Denver, Bears, Jets, and Jacksonville. Baltimore is gonna go probably 9-8. They're gonna split the division completely. They'll lose to Seattle, lose to Miami. I think Miami's gonna be a pretty good team. 49ers, Jacksonville, and the Chargers. Those are where their loss is gonna be. I mean, Lamar, if he's healthy, obviously he's an MVP candidate. If he's healthy, he has a lot of talent. Obviously, he can run the ball super, super well. He's got a new toy in Odell Beckham. I guess we'll see how healthy he is. If Rashad Bateman's healthy, I think he can add a lot to this offense. He's a former Minnesota boy. I want to cheer for him. I really do, because he was super cool to watch at the U of M. Obviously, they have Mark Andrews, who's always going to be a really good tight end. They have, if J.K. Dobbins is healthy, he's always been very productive when he's healthy, which is a big if I'm honest. The defense is always solid in Baltimore. They always produce a solid defense. So, and they're obviously well coached. So I think this team can go 9-8. I think depending on how the AFC goes, I don't know if it's enough to get into the playoffs. It's a brutal division. Conference. The AFC is a lot better than the NFC right now. Because I could see even the Lions getting in at 9-8 in the, maybe even having like 3 teams from the NFC North sneak in, but it's going to be that the AFC is just a very, very tough conference. There's a lot of good teams, a lot of good quarterbacks. They're very loaded on young QBs too that are very good. Next up, we got Pittsburgh, and I mean that defense is always going to be good, and it's always that team always fights. Mike Tomlin hasn't had since he's started head coach. He hasn't had a losing season there, so I think it's a safe bet that they're going to at least have another winning season. It would be a real shocker if they had a losing season. I don't think Mike Tomlin knows how to have a losing season. I'm convinced that it's physically impossible for them to have a losing season as long as Mike Tomlin's there. They're going to split the division as well. I think losses to Seattle, San Fran, Jacksonville, and I think they're going to lose to New England. I think that's going to be a really good game. I think they're going to lose a squeaker there. But, 10-7, I see this, Kenny Pickens, I think he's going to have a pretty good year. Kenny Pickett. He's going to have, I always get George Pickens and Kenny Pickett confused. Last name's close. I'm sorry. Kenny Pickett. I think he did fairly all right. They don't need him to be overly amazing. They have a very good defense. They just need him to be efficient. I mean, you got Najee Harris, who's a really good running back. The receiving core, rounded up with George Pickens. You have Deontay Johnson, who, he's pretty good. They have Allen Robinson as the third. And then Pat Freiermuth is a solid He's a solid tight end. So he's just efficient. He just needs to be efficient. He just needs to be, not turning the ball over, and that defense will carry you. 21 points, I think you're fine for most games as long as that defense is playing lights out. So, 10-7. I think that's very respectable. You're probably going to be a wild card team. So, and that leaves us, obviously, with the Cincinnati Bengals. They're going to go 12-5. This is Cincy's division for a while now, as long as Joe Burrow's there. It's pretty obvious, if I'm honest. They might lose. They're probably going to lose to Baltimore and Pittsburgh just because, again, it's a tough division. Actually, I only have listed 4 losses. I said Baltimore. I can't count, apparently. Baltimore, Pittsburgh, San Fran, Kansas. Did I have them losing anywhere else? I could even see them losing in... honestly, 13-4. 13-4 is probably. I could see them going 13-4. Fuck it, we'll go 13-4. Bengals are going to go 13-4. They're going to win that division. They'll probably be up there fighting for number 1. So, yeah, I'm going to change this to 13-4. And, yeah. I think, like I said, the AFC has a lot of good quarterbacks. Obviously, Joe Burrow being one of them. Super cool dude. And, that offense is just potent. You got Joe Mixon. You got Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd. You got, who's there? Because they changed their tight end. Is it? It is Irv Smith. I thought so. I knew he went somewhere in the AFC. You got Irv Smith. He's a good blocking tight end when he was here. He can drop a lot of wide open passes. Trust me, I know. I watched him do it, and I was very mad at him. But he's also, when he can catch, he can catch. It's just he keeps dropping them. They have a solid offense. They got Orlando Brown, which was a huge acquisition for that O-line, which has always been kind of not great for Joe Burrow. And then they have that defense, which is going to win them games just on the defense alone, let alone how good their offense is. So this is their division to lose. If they lose, it's going to be a spectacular failure. And anything short of the... Honestly, I think anything short of the AFC Championship game this year for them is a disappointment for them, because they have the talent to get to the Super Bowl again, easily. We've seen them we've seen them go into into Arrowhead and win games. We've seen him go into Buffalo. He can play anywhere, and that team can play pretty much anywhere. They're going to be a hard team to get out of for a long time. So I think they're Super Bowl favorites. So, or not, I think they are Super Bowl favorites. I think that anything short of the AFC Championship game for them is disappointment. So, yeah, that's who we have. Think, just brief recap, we got the Vikings winning the NFC North. We got the Bears, the Lions, and then Green Bay. And then we have the Bengals easily winning the AFC North, and then Pittsburgh, Baltimore, and the Browns. So like I said, the next 3 videos after this are going to cover the rest of the divisions. Obviously, we're going to keep sticking with the theme, the West, the East, and the Souths. And then we're going to, after that, on the last video of this series, I'm going to take the culmination, I'm going to seed them how I have them set, and we're going to go through the playoff predictor, and we'll predict the playoffs. And that's going to be my official predictions for, without knowing any records or anything. And then when the playoffs come, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep that, and we're going to compare how I did, and then versus what actually happened, and then re-predict the playoffs with what actually happened, and see how close I was, if I was close at all, which I could very well not be. The Vikings could easily prove me wrong, because they have before. So, there's that. But let me know what you think. Let me know your predictions. Let me know any other comments you have, comment down below. Like the video, please. It helps out a lot. And subscribe if you haven't yet, because I'm going to be doing this for a long time. And you want to get notified when I release your team's division, because maybe I haven't covered your team yet. Well, you gotta notify. You gotta get notified when it's gonna come out, because it's gonna come out. Next video will be Wednesday at noon, and I will see you then. Peace out. Have a good weekend, because it is Friday. Have a good weekend. You deserve it. You earned it.